Hey y'all, despite my best efforts, production time on these videos are getting longer without a notable increase in quality, so to ensure y'all get a video this month, today we'll be talking about one of my favorite fighting games of all time, Samurai Shodown 5 Special. This game was the last official game to be released on SNK's Neo Geo console, which made sense, what with the series being one of SNK's own, and came out in 2004. While this is the point where I'd shout out the developers, considering this is a fighting game from the period where games stopped going to the arcades and started releasing on home consoles, and also taking into account how Shinji and Kikaku are real homies about game preservation, who did what and when can get a bit muddied when just simply aggregating the info. So here's a list! The game was, in its iterations, at least once worked on by Yuki Enterprise, Exa Arcadia, Code Mixtex, and Dotemu, while the game has been published by SNK Playmore, Exa Arcadia, and the Hamster Corporation. The last notable tidbit here is that while, as the name suggests, 5 Special is an upgrade upon Sam Show 5, there also exists an even newer upgrade in the form of Samurai Shodown 5 Perfect, which didn't see the light of day until the Samurai Shodown Neo Geo collection in 2020, which I do not own. Now, from what I understand, however, Perfect only comes with some balance changes, meaning that I'm not missing anything you'd be able to see anyway. The game features all of your favorite Samurai Shodown classics: Haomaru, Demon, Other Haomaru, my boy, Other Demon, Kusare Motherfucking Ghetto, Dog, and Yajujube, among others. Sam Show 5 Special, just like the rest of its series, is a true return to the grander footsies of yore. Is what I'd say if I was another fool and wouldn't have played Sam Show 6, or 2, or 5 Special for that matter. While Sam Show is the footsiest footsie game on this side of, like, I don't know, Dive Kick and the game literally titled Footsies, that does not mean it doesn't have its own fair share of degenerate characters. Kusara Ghetto is on the character select screen. You can just choose to play as this bitch. But regardless, I prefer 5 Special to its predecessors and 6, mainly because to me it strikes the perfect balance of having responsive, snappy movement while still making every attack count, and thus staying true to the series' identity as a more footsie-focused one. As usual of SNK's releases, the game follows a 4-button getup of A, B, C, and D buttons, where A is punch, B is a weak slash, C is kick, and D is a movement button we shall revisit in time. Each character also has a heavy slash on A and B together, which is important because if you really want to play Sam Show proper, you'll use nary more than spacing and heavy slashes, just as Haomaru intended. One big positive of this game is its low level of entry while still retaining a high level of complexity. The game asks you to manage 4 meters, but 2 of them are the regular fighting game meters that are to be expected after Super Turbo, and the other 2, while important game mechanics, can be completely disregarded for casual play, and you won't even notice. Hell, I'm still not quite sure what this meter is, and as it turns out, I've been playing this game more or less since it came out, which is a bit of a trip in itself. Looking at it for the sake of this video, I have come to believe it is a meter to visualize the ease with which your opponent may knock your weapon out of your hand, which we'll elaborate on later as well. As for the meter itself, it goes down with each whiffed attack, and the amount of bar loss corresponds with the severity of attack whiffed, save for supers, which I don't believe make it go down, but I wasn't paying too much attention to that particular interaction during gameplay, to be honest. The other meter the game wants you to keep track of is your concentration gauge, which is the slightly darker shade at the end of your health bar, and is also tied to not just the little pointer situated above each player's health bar, but also the rage gauge, which serves as the game's super gauge, so let's go in order. The rage gauge fills some every time you're hit by something, and how much it fills depends on the ferocity of attack that landed against you. If the gauge fills, you enter rage, whence you may attempt the super attack on quarter circle forward C plus D. You may attempt this as many times as you'd like as long as the rage meter remains full, which is only true for a limited time. If you have some rage, you are given a choice. Of course, you may wish to wait to fill the gauge proper, but that might only come once enough damage has been dealt to you to seal the deal regardless. So you might as well choose to press A, B, and C together to trigger Rage Explosion. These give you an instant full meter, give you higher damage potential, act as a burst if needed, allow you to do Zetsumei Ogi, and also remove your rage meter for the remainder of the match. On the other hand, where you're so inclined, you can also press Neutral D to build your concentration gauge, signified by the health bar pointer moving towards the side of your bar, and more of your health bar becoming a darker hue. How the concentration gauge works is that in your last round, once your health reaches the point below the pointer, your health turns blue and you may enter the Muno Kyochi, or state of nothingness, by pressing B, C, and D together, in which state time slows down for your opponent and the game also allows you to perform an instant attack, by once more inputting the same combination. which is damage is dependent on how much of your concentration gauge has been filled prior to activating the Mu no Kyochi. There is a trade-off, however, for entering the state that allows one to enter the state of nothingness also enables the opponent to perform the Zetsumei Ogi on you. As previously mentioned, Samsho 5 Special also comes with a dedicated movement button, which allows you to do additional evasive maneuvers that the regular movement system can't afford to, such as lying on the ground to avoid anything higher than sweeps, or short hops to aid you in nullifying just those. The side hops are also capable of side switching, but unlike say KOF dodges, they're not invincible to regular attacks, so you have to make sure you won't get punished for them. But D isn't used solely for these, as the game also has deflects and weapon catches. Special input moves that not only parry the opponent's attacks, but also rip their weapons from their grip, giving you an edge in competition. Once you or someone you know has been disarmed in such a way, it is still possible to pick up your armaments from the battlefield, but until you succeed in doing so, you still retain parts of your moveset which do not require your weapons, whilst also gaining new normals to still allow you to partake in your necessary fisticuffs. One source of definite weirdness in regards to the game's mechanics is its implementation of grabs. Usually you'd go for a proximity-based throw mechanic or a button combination that comes with its own set of animations to make them both easier to do but easier to tech as well. Samsho 5 Special instead asks for a hybrid method, where you need to press both C and D to initiate a grab, and the game has animations for throw whiffing, yet you can only try for a throw once you're in proximity. To talk about the presentation some as well, the time-appropriate shoddy and weird translation notwithstanding, the presentation is great. The sprite work is up to par with SNK's usual around the time of release, and the small bits of gore included establish as well that while we may not be dealing with a Mortal Kombat, the game isn't shying away from more realistically portraying the game's violence. Speaking of which, we have to make note of the Zetsumei Ogi, the game's equivalent to fatalities, or I suppose it is in many ways more fitting to liken them to Guilty Gear Xrd's implementation of instant kills specifically. While classically they are referred to as fatalities, they are not bonus animations that can only be triggered once the opponent's health has been meticulously decreased so as to stun them once their health is zeroed out, but special moves that will end the match if hit can only be triggered on match point, remove their respective meters from the rest of the match on whiff, and require you to enter a specific state to be able to do their dedicated specials. Another possible, albeit tangential connection between the two is that they're usually over-the-top attacks that, while don't look particularly violent, are definitely still lethal if the timer becoming the word kill isn't enough of an indication of such. Back to the presentation, the game opted for a rather interesting way to do their sound design. Usually each stage or character would have their own dedicated song, if not both, but in Samsho 5 Special, instead of just composing a traditional soundtrack, they focused on having impeccable stage ambience, which can make most any regular duel feel like an old oral epic. It is not to say that the game has no traditional soundtrack, however, as it features many classically instrumented pieces that fit the game like a glove. Special shout out to Hell though. Overall, I find that every time I revisit Samurai Shodown 5 Special, I not only enjoy it, but I like it a bit more. Its high-risk, high-reward approach to footsies is second to none outside of its own series, and even that, I would say, is arguable. Samsho 5 Special is truly, as the name implies, special. Yo SNK, when's Let's Play 3 though?